Good evening and welcome to eNews Weekend Edition. I'm Shahan Ramkisoon. It's great to have you with us. Our top stories tonight. Sun City counts the costs after a destructive hailstorm. Edcon rubbishes reports that it's closing stores. Our top story, Sun City guests had to be evacuated after a devastating hailstorm. Hundreds of rooms and vehicles were damaged. Michael Apple has the details.
You'd be forgiven for thinking this footage was shot somewhere in Europe during a blizzard. Sun City? More like Snow City. Technically, it's hail. A lot of hail pelted down on the resort on late Saturday afternoon. The general manager, Raul de Lima, says this has never happened before in Sun City's almost 40-year history.
Yesterday's thunderstorm was unprecedented. We got something like 85 millimeters of rain within half an hour. It came down quite suddenly. Naturally, that kind of water, that amount of volume of water affected quite a lot of our operations at the resort.
About 400 of the 1,300 hotel rooms were damaged, along with many of the vacation club units. There were scenes of incredible flooding throughout the resort. Any water remaining outside is being lapped up by the unforgiving northwest sun, while the hail, resilient as it is slowly melting. De Lima says it's been an enormous cleanup operation.
We mobilized our cleaning teams. Our staff were phenomenal. I mean, we worked through the night pretty much getting the operation to the kind of state that it is today. Unfortunately, the damage is substantive. It mainly affected our convention center, which fortuitously at this time of the year is underutilized. But the retail areas downstairs were affected through the precipitation of rain and hail that actually came through some of the roof sheeting and through ceilings and then obviously onto the slabs.
This young holiday goer describes how it all unfolded for him.
All of a sudden hailstones and lightning just started. The next minute we get a phone call from my dad to say houses are flooding and roofs are falling at Vacation Club.
It may look like scenes from the Titanic movie, but that hasn't stopped the influx of people in the slightest. Many day visitors even oblivious of what unfolded here the previous day.
It looks very different to how it did yesterday, but there's still quite literally a valley of waves in some of Sun City's conference centers. The general manager says it's early days, but they estimate that the damages are going to run into tens of millions of rands. Michael Apple at Sun City in the Northwest.
Edcon Group CEO Grant Patterson is refuting reports the retailer is at risk of closing stores. He says while the company has made some bad choices in the past, parts of the Sunday Times story are misleading and sensationalist. The paper's reporting as many as 140,000 people could lose their jobs. Edcon subsidiaries include Edgar's, CNA and Jet. The retailer has confirmed it plans to finish its recapitalization drive. Marcel Gordon spoke to Patterson on our sister channel, ENCA.
It's the fact that, I would have preferred, and I asked the newspaper, that we were within days of signing an agreement, some of which that article is accurate on, some of which it is not accurate on, and asked them just for a week until we've actually signed it, and then we can announce the deal. And the deal would say, stakeholders get together to ensure Edcon's future, rather than the misleading headline, Edcon crashes. And so, I think it's an unfortunate and unnecessarily way to publish an article.
So your concern there being that it would, the article published in the way that it has would bring panic, I suppose, to the many thousands of employees that depend on their jobs from Edcon.
Correct. We're not playing games here. These are tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people whose lives depend somewhat on Edcon. I certainly and the management team and all the staff at Edcon are doing our very, very best to make sure that we keep the company going and fix it. And so to sell a few newspapers, I think is unfair.
It's Reconciliation Day, time for South Africans to reflect on national unity. President Cyril Ramaphosa delivered his maiden Reconciliation Day address in Mthatha in the Eastern Cape. He says access to land is a fundamental right of every South African. Ramaphosa is also promising to intensify land restitution in an effort to further unify South Africans.
Land reform is therefore part and parcel of the whole project of nation building. It is key to furthering reconciliation in our country and is central to eliminating inequality in society. Far from being a measure that will fuel tensions or set race relations back or fuel tension between the races in our country, accelerated land reform has the potential to improve goodwill between the people of our country.
Former President Nelson Mandela's granddaughter, Ndleko, was also at the event. She says the second generation of free South Africans needs another TRC to heal as a nation.
I feel that we need to go on the second round of reconciliation, of a TRC, so to speak, because if you look at the first TRC, it did the first repair, which was first generation. We're now second generation type of anger. So we need to maybe go through 2, 3, 4, 5 reconciliation to be able to go through an entire generation, because people that were young at the first TRC are now adults and they've grown up with that anger, and we need to let go.
On a lighter note now, the Grassy Park Empowerment Forum held a festival to unite residents and other Cape Townians. People spent the day dancing and playing games, and for the more adventurous, some skateboarding too. Peladi Setusa was there and spoke to one resident.
The fact that the kids could be on their scooters and the hula hooping and even the drawings in the road and the skip hop, whatever the game is that they're playing, it was a brilliant event.
Jessica, you have your daughter Jay with you. Did she do anything out of the ordinary, or did you just see her being happy with other children today?
Just the fact that she could be free. That is alone for me a great thing, because normally I have to keep her close to me. I can't let her just walk because with kidnapping and all these things going on. But today she was free. She could do what she wanted to, because it was like everybody watched each other.
Coming up, Durban's real-life Santa Claus breathes a new life into old toys. Welcome back. Christmas is just over a week away, and a real-life Santa Claus is already working hard to bring joy to underprivileged children in Durban. Engineer Shivan Gopi has been fixing broken toys in his spare time to hand over as Christmas gifts. Desan Tatia joined him on one of his drop-offs.
Durban's Santa Claus doesn't have any elves, so this is what he's been doing into the early hours of the morning. In his makeshift workshop, Shivan Gopi is transforming broken toys into working ones. And it's for a great cause. It all started with a simple appeal on Facebook.
So I asked friends and family, do you have anyone that has broken toys or repairable toys that would like to donate to me, and I'd take it on to myself and source the relevant parts, stuff like that, and fix it and give it to kids that are well deserving.
So you didn't anticipate this much work?
My expectation was, just getting, like maximum 20 toys. And then after this entire experience, it's in excess of 300 toys. And it's been a wild ride, but it's just been so much worth it.
Apart from electronic goodies, Gopi is collecting fluffy companions for younger kids.
So on Friday, we delivered to a under-resourced home. We will be delivering to kids of the Valley of 1,000 Hills, and also we will be delivering to a baby's homes.
Armed with his selection of gifts, Gopi is ready to once again spread some festive cheer. He's enlisted a few NGOs to help him find suitable recipients. Despite his taxing day job, Gopi is hoping to make this a regular affair in the coming year. Desan Tatia, Durban.
Now, Emperor's Palace is hosting the 11th annual Garden of Lights event. It was created to spread festive cheer through spectacular light displays, delicious food and funfair rides. Sekgohako Moagi joins us live now from that event. Sekgo, of course, after the very long, difficult year many people have had, a little light in December is what we need, no doubt.
Oh, absolutely. It is indeed what is needed. And that's exactly what is happening here at Emperor's Palace tonight. And there's lots of music. There's Father Christmas. There's Mrs. Claus as well here. The snowman is also here. I just want to step out of shot quickly just so that you can take a look at the beauty of the lights that is actually taking place here at Emperor's Palace. It is getting darker and darker. And the darker it gets, the more beautiful it just becomes. We are having a lot of people flowing through. And the organizers of this event have really mentioned to us that they actually have about on average 4,700 people that actually come through this particular Garden of Lights event, which takes place from the 30th of November this year. But I've got some little ones with me that would like to actually just let us know how they're feeling about this event. Hello, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good.
Now tell me, are you excited about tonight?
Very.
What are you looking forward to the most?
Well, I'm not sure.
And Santa Claus? Kinda, not really. All right, you also want to say hi?
Hi, my name is Lansense.
What are you looking forward to the most?
Santa Claus and my presents.
Okay, thank you so much. And as you hear, the children are really excited here at Kempton Park at the Emperor's Palace, the Garden of Lights. It is taking place until about 9:30, and we just heard thunder now and hoping that it does not rain at all.
Yeah, hopefully not. But tell us about this event as well, because we know that some people pay to enter and that money is going to charity. Is that happening this year as well?
That is correct, yes. The event does sell tickets and those proceeds does go to charity. For this year, it is going to reach for Dream Foundation. So that's where the proceeds for this year will be going to. And of course, it's not just from the ticket sales, it's also from the sales of people buying candy. There's even Candyland here. And it's just those kind of stalls that are also raising some money for charity as well.
Thanks so much for that, appreciate it. A little light to brighten up our night as we get into that festive season. That was our reporter, Sekgohako Moagi at Emperor's Palace. Now, further afield, Zimbabweans in Britain say they're alarmed by reports of plans to send them back home. A group of Zimbabweans living in the UK believe at least 7 people have been ordered to attend meetings at which they've been questioned by a Zimbabwean embassy official. Some of them have lived in Britain for more than a decade. The group is concerned by reports that 2,500 people might be repatriated. Many fear prosecution if they return to Zimbabwe because they've been openly critical of President Emmerson Mnangagwa's government. Now, in Poland, the COP24 climate conference has wrapped up on a positive note. Nearly 200 countries have signed a pact that will bring to life the 2015 Paris Agreement to cut carbon emissions. Before talks started, many expected the deal to fall flat. US President Donald Trump wants to pull his country out of that pact, but ministers from various countries managed to overcome their differences to produce a 156-page rule book. Countries will have to report and monitor their national pledges to curb greenhouse gas emissions. After the break, you hear the details, and then SA hip-hop star Kwesta shines the spotlight on his neighborhood in his latest collaboration with US artist Rick Ross.
It's been another typical summer's day across South Africa on Sunday. Overnight, we'll see some fog move in along the west coast, with a few showers moving in over the southern part of the country, mainly in the first part of the day. Another sizzling hot day is expected across South Africa, with lots of thunderstorm activity into the afternoon. In fact, we're expecting a 60% chance of thunderstorms over the eastern interior. Sizzling hot weather continues over the eastern part of the Northern Cape, with the chance of isolated thundershowers. You'll see a bit of cloud over the western part, with another hot day in store. Temperatures also heat up, especially over the Western Cape interior, 41 for Beaufort West, 31 degrees for Cape Town, with with a few showers and thundershowers over the southern part of the province between Hermanus and George. Temperatures really heat up over the Eastern Cape interior with a few highs heading into the upper 30s. You'll see up to a 40% chance of thundershowers here, 35 for Mthatha, sizzling hot as we head towards KwaZulu-Natal with up to a 60% chance of thunderstorms. In Mpumalanga, we're expecting another hot day with isolated to scattered thundershowers, 32 for Secunda and Standerton, mostly clear at 41 degrees for Skukuza. Dry and hot over the eastern part of Limpopo, but with the possibility of thundershowers over the western parts. You'll also see thundershowers possible for northwest, with highs heading into the low and middle 30s. The Free State can finally expect thundershowers on Monday, 36 degrees for Bloemfontein, with a high of around 30 for Bethlehem, Harrismith and Zastron. Gauteng can expect hot weather to continue, 32 for Soweto and Johannesburg, Pretoria topping 34 with isolated thundershowers. On Tuesday, we're forecasting thundershowers and showers for most weather stations across South Africa. Hot weather continues with a chance of rainfall into Cape Town at 26. And on Wednesday, we'll see thunderstorms and cloudy conditions mainly into KwaZulu-Natal, but also through to the northeastern parts with dry weather returning to the Northern Cape. That's all from the Weather Centre for now. Have a great night.
And local rap superstar Kwesta continues to push boundaries after his mega hit with American rapper Wale. He's now teaming up with international rapper Rick Ross. This forms part of the Kasi Experience campaign happening this weekend. Theodore Mashele has more.
In a celebratory mood, hip-hop artist Kwesta and his crew prepare to share local culture with international superstar Rick Ross.
I want to show them South African hoods. I want to show them the lifestyle of the hood. You know, they need to understand and they need to know that we get a lot of their hoods and stuff like that on TV. So we need to teach them what's going on this side.
This was also an opportunity for Katlehong dancers to showcase their original moves for local resident Kwesta.
We're gonna mix like everything: kofifi, spansola, spojwa, hip-hop, and we are an all-rounder. Like we do basically everything. Since we have like an international act, we wanna show him and wanna show the world out there what South Africa is good at.
The production crew were also delighted to be part of this historical moment in the local hip-hop industry.
We have a bunch of like culture references that we want to do for here in South Africa. So yeah, I'm sure that you guys are going to see them in the video. So the biggest thing being like just taking Rick Ross to go Kasi, you know, just letting him see the Kasi and just, you know, chilling with Kwesta there, seeing how maybe Kwesta grew up.
Local artists are also inspired by this international collaboration.
It's how the collaborations are done that actually make them important. And I think Kwesta has been consistent with how he did Wale, with how he's doing Rick Ross. They could have gone to Sentin, to some place, you know, that looks nice, but it's how it's done. And how it's done, I think, is how it's how the impact is had.
A clear representation of the township and all that it has to offer. That is what this rap superstar is trying to highlight, that anything is possible when you dream big. Theodore Mashele, Johannesburg.
Here's a reminder of our top stories before we go. Sun City counts the costs after a destructive hailstorm. From me, Shahan Ramkisoon, and the rest of the team, good night.